Greetings and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be giving recommendations for some of my favorite romance novellas. Hello, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to Trope Week. If you guys didn't know, I'm doing a little series on my channel called Trope Week, where every single day for a week I am posting a video on a very specific trope and giving you all of my recommendations. I have a whole playlist down below if you want to check those out, but today we're going to be talking about novellas. Now, I understand that this is not necessarily a trope, but I feel like novellas are something that I gravitate towards a lot. I'm definitely a moody reader. I tend to get in a lot of reading slumps, so novellas are definitely something that get me out of reading slumps and that I really enjoy. I realized in this past week, work has been crazy. I've been filming and editing a lot that I've really only been gravitating towards novellas, so I thought, hey, let's do a video on them. I've already done a recommendation video for some novellas that I love, and I don't want to repeat any of those, so I'm going to leave that video down below if you want even more recommendations, because I absolutely adored those books as well. I have a lot to talk about. I have like 15 books to talk about. That's a lot. I decided to kind of like break it down in subgenres. I have some historical novellas. I have some novellas available on Kindle Unlimited. I have some monster novellas. A little monster smut for you, babe. Yeah. I got all the bases covered. I got all of it covered. Grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's talk about some steamy, fun romance novellas. Okie dokie artichoke. The first little subgenre that I have is historical novellas. You guys know I love historical romance on my channel, so of course I'm gonna love some historical novellas. One that was recommended to me on Scribd, and I really want like everyone to read it because it's I don't really see a lot of people talking about this author, and there's only 13 ratings on Goodreads, so let's show this book some love, and that is A House East of Regent Street by Pam Rosenthal. Pretty short book. I listened to the audiobook, which I believe was like 2, maybe 3 hours. The book follows Jack and Cleo. Jack was previously in the military where he got wounded, but as he came out, he was kind of like a war hero, and he also made himself a self-made man, so he has a lot of money. He decides that he's going to embark on this business adventure, and he really wants to buy this location that actually used to be a brothel. Turns out there are some other buyers that really want to buy this building, and that's where our heroine Cleo comes in. She actually used to work at this building as an ex-lady of the night, and she wants to take it over, spruce it up, and kind of be a madam for this brothel. Cleo really can't outbid Jack, so they end up coming up with another bargain that she is going to stay with him for 5 days and kind of do anything and everything he wants, whatever pleases him, and at the end of this little 5-day rendezvous sexapade, she can have this building leased to her. That is their agreement, and you follow their romance, and it's just 5 steamy, wild nights with them together. I really liked this one. Another historical novella that I liked is available on Kindle Unlimited, and that is A Budding Romance by Laura Kinsey. It is a sapphic romance. So one of our heroines is a headmistress at a school for young ladies. She needs to hire a gardener to spruce up her school before it is open for business, and that is where our other heroine comes in. She is the gardener, and they end up spending some time together over the summer, and it follows their romance. And I feel like this is a unique historical romance. I feel like a lot of times we get like our wallflowers and our dukes and our rakes. We've all read about it. I kind of like something a little bit different, and this definitely gave it to me. Okay, are you guys ready for the monster romances? I know you are. I feel like monster romances are honestly so popular right now. I'm here for it. I'm living for it. Let's talk about some. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is called The Librarian and the Beast by S.J. Sanders. I found scrolling through Kindle Unlimited, S.J. Sanders has a lot of monster alien romances. This is actually a Minotaur romance. Our heroine is a librarian working in the library, and she really has strong ambitions to be the town's transcriber. The story is placed in like this dystopian world where women have very little rights, and men are kind of like kings essentially. So she is passed up for her promotion as a transcriber. Really awful guy comes in to be a transcriber and tries to get rid of any books that could possibly give women any type of education or agency. So our heroine really wants to prevent that from happening, obviously, but she finds herself in a bit of a pickle when she falls into a river, ends up needing to be saved, and guess who saves her? Our sexy Minotaur. Of course. I mean, why not? This one was really fun. I kind of liked our heroine. She was strong, she was independent, she was hilarious, and yeah, I definitely like this one. This is a little bit of a longer novella. I think it's just around 200 pages, but I felt like the world building kind of required that, so this one was really good. Okay, another one that is on Kindle Unlimited is Girls Weekend by C.M. Nascada. So this book is told in multiple point of views, which I really love when books are told in multiple point of views and you get to follow like different characters' story. It follows a group of fairies who are co-workers, and they're kind of just like stressed and bored of corporate life, so they decide to go on a retreat that is mainly known for these sexy naked orcs, which is kind of like an ogre but sexy. Okay, let's just imagine they're sexy. Tall, they have muscles. I think they're green. I'm not really sure. So they end up going to this resort, and it follows our three lovely ladies on their sexapades, essentially. I've never used that word on my channel, and now I'm using it a lot in this video. Some of these novellas are steamy. What can I say? This one is pretty low angst. It's just like a fun, wild time. I love the concept of this book. I'm definitely excited for any future novellas by this author. She has a really popular one that's going around called Milking Farm? Glory Farm? Something. I'll put it on the screen, okay? I'll put it on the screen. I'm sure you guys have heard this one. It's all over TikTok and Instagram. That is the same author that writes Girls Weekend, and I just really like her writing. Okay, another novella. This one is kind of random. It's by Sierra Simone. I don't know how to pronounce this word. Sanguine? Sanguine? Novella was a part of an Australia anthology that a bunch of romance authors wrote for this really good cause, and it was all stories set in Australia. It was in that anthology, but this is the only one I've read, and you can definitely buy it on its own. This is a vampire romance. It follows a vampire and an ex-priest who is also a vampire hunter. I don't know what it is about Sierra Simone and her priest, babe, but it does it for me. This one was so freaking cute. It was adorable. I just loved the humor in this book. It's a male-male romance. Hero, who is an ex-priest, stopped becoming a vampire hunter because he no longer wanted to kill vampires. Ends up staying in Australia and bumping into this vampire and being like insanely attracted to them. They definitely have like a fated mates type of connection, instant attraction with one another. And honestly, this one was just so, like I said, so freaking cute and so hilarious. Like, I loved it. But honestly, I love everything Sierra Simone writes, so I would recommend this one. Okay, one that I read in some reading vlog. I actually don't remember what reading vlog it was. I'll try to remember and link it down below. And that is Briarly by Aster Glenn Gray. I know I read this because of Crystal from Crystal Bookish Life. She raved about it, and we tend to have very similar reading tastes. This one was so freaking beautiful. The writing in this book was stunning. The romance, stunning. The steam, there's essentially no steam. Like, it's not a steamier novella at all, so if you're not someone who likes high steam books, this one's probably a good one for you. This one was more of like this beautiful slow burn character development. Anyways, let me talk about the plot. It is a male-male romance that is set in World War II, and it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. English parson is traveling, and he has a tradition that he always brings a rose back to his daughter. So he ends up seeing this abandoned mansion with these beautiful roses, and you know, he thinks, oh, it's abandoned, just gonna snatch some roses and nothing's going to happen. Well, it's not abandoned after all, and there's this dragon type beast who is furious about him stealing his roses. You guys know how Beauty and the Beast goes. Basically asks our hero to give him his daughter kind of like as a sacrifice for stealing the roses, and the English parson is like, heck no, that doesn't even make any sense. If you want someone, you get me. And it follows their very slow burn male-male romance. Like I said, beautiful romance. I cried in this book. The ending was so well written. I love this book. Okay, so the last beast, monster romance, whatever you want to call it, is another one that is very popular right now on Bookstagram, and that is Feed by Avita Weiss. Like I said, this one has kind of made its round through Bookstagram, but I think I originally saw it from Mina Reads. I think she did like a wrap-up or something. I also know that Riley from Riley Marie also really enjoyed it. This is basically just like some monster smut. It's all steamy, fun times. It follows a succubus. I always struggle to say that word. succubus. She basically is desperate to feed, and she's kind of like starved herself because she's afraid of losing control. So she ends up using this monster dating app where basically people can like put in their needs, their monsterish needs, and it's kind of like Tinder, basically. She's used the app before, never really had any problems, but this time she ends up getting matched to her coworker that she hates. Definitely have some tension, some enemies to lover situation. He is this like punk rock fae that she finds really annoying but insanely attractive. The best combination. And she is definitely hungry and can't resist him, and they have a fun time. It's a fun time. Definitely liked this novella. I know this author has a couple more that I'm really interested in reading as well. I feel like I'm talking so fast right now, but I'm really trying to get through everything, okay? Okay. So my next little genre that I broke up was some Audible originals. I've never really used Audible as a subscription, but I did in this past month and listened to a lot of short novellas that were available on Audible. First one I want to talk about is called After the Fairy Tale by Terrence Gray. If you are a fan of the Bachelor franchise, Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, you will love this novella. It is such a cool novella. So basically the premise of the story is that it follows our heroine. She goes on a reality dating show and she wins, and it follows her life after the show. She ends up moving back to her hometown to stay out of the press so that there's no spoilers as the show is airing, and she just is like reevaluating her life, and it's just a really interesting audiobook because it's a full cast. Every character, her mom, her dad, the person at the grocery store, like literally every character is a different person. It's a full audiobook. You can even hear like the background noise if she's like in the car or she walks into this bakery. It's just an awesome audiobook, and it's also narrated by Teddy Hamilton. I texted Desiree from the Genki Reader. We're both like a huge fan of Teddy Hamilton. He is the best narrator. I adore his voice. That sounds so weird. Anyways, this is kind of a love triangle because our heroine is basically in a relationship with a person from the show, but she also ends up going back to her hometown and reconnecting with like her childhood sweetheart. I really like this one. Like I feel like I was so invested in the audiobook, and it was just perfectly executed. Okay, I need everyone to read this one if you're a fan of the Bachelor franchise. Okay, another one that is narrated by Teddy Hamilton. I just love his, like, the way he narrates books. Anyways, this is Bridesmaids by Sydney Smith. I think I heard of this one from, oh, who recommended this book? Oh, my brain is leaving me. Okay, yes. It's Tori from It's a Novel Life. She recommended this in a novella recommendation video, so I'll leave her recommendation video down below. This one is so stinking cute. It's a male-male romance. It follows our hero who is headed back to his hometown because of a wedding. His best friend is getting married, and he is the mate of honor. As he is headed back to his hometown, he ends up bumping into a guy that he has always had a crush on. They had a little bit of a moment in high school, but the other hero was not ready to come out to his family, and it just so happens that that same guy is the groomsman. He's the best man in the wedding, so they end up having to work together, and it follows their romance. This was so wholesome, so cute. It's like a small town country wedding romance, second chance romance. Like honestly, it hit all of the checkpoints. Awesome audiobook. Highly recommend it. And like if you just want a wholesome, cute novella that just makes you smile, this is it for sure. This, I would honestly even go as far to say that of all the novellas I've talked about, this one's probably my favorite because it just gave me like those little warm butterflies in my stomach, and I loved it. The last one I listened to on Audible was What the Hex by Alexis Daria. Reading this one because the characters in this book are Puerto Rican, and I'm Puerto Rican, so I just really wanted to read it, but I enjoyed it a lot. So basically follows our heroine who, hey, is headed back in town for a wedding. Sister is getting married, and she is the maid of honor, so she ends up having to head back to her hometown. She is a part of a long family of witches and magic, and she hasn't really been home in a while. When she gets there, she ends up discovering that her family has kind of been possessed by this demon who wants to hijack the wedding and steal all of their power. Our hero Diego is the brother of the groom, and he's the best man, and they end up working together together to kind of like defeat this demon, and it follows their romance. This is a very loose like enemies to lovers romance. I typically don't like enemies to lovers, but this one was just so good and so freaking hilarious. Their banter was amazing. And also, the characters are Puerto Rican. They ate some Puerto Rican food, which I never see in romance novels. So this was awesome. This was such a good audiobook. Okay, so the next two books that I'm going to talk about are some novellas that were on Kindle Unlimited, and I read the ebooks. The first one is Perfect Matcha by Erin McLennan. I did also do a reading vlog for this novella, and again, it's another wholesome male-male romance. This is the third book in the Bold Brew series, but you don't have to read them in order. Basically, it all centers around this coffee shop. Different authors kind of contribute and write books to the series. You can read them completely out of order. It is a friends to lovers romance, which is my favorite trope. This follows Camden, who has always had a crush on his best friend Theo, but has never really made a move because he doesn't want to ruin their friendship. Also, Theo used to date one of their friends and it didn't end that great. He saw how that ended badly and he just really values their friendship and doesn't want to ruin that. Theo is kind of bummed because his ex-boyfriend is actually getting married. It's not that he's like hung up on his ex-boyfriend, he just really wants someone to go with him to the wedding. He wants a date. Why are all of these novellas centered around a wedding? I just realized that. He ends up agreeing to help Theo find a date and like try to hook him up with some of his friends, but Theo is a very shy hero. He doesn't have a lot of confidence. Camden actually works in a sex toy shop store and ends up kind of like gifting Theo these toys and gifts to boost up his confidence and then showing him how they work. They have a fun steamy time and they end up falling for each other. Love this audiobook. I just love anything friends to lovers, if I'm being completely honest, but this one is a really good one. Okay, the next one is a little bit of a different novella for me. It's a little spicy. It's called The Good Girl by Shiloh Clark. Sorry if I keep looking down. I have like all my notes so I don't forget anything. Okay. All right, this one is a little steamy, a little spicy, a little different, okay? I ended up reading this because it was a recommendation from Riley Marie. A lot of booktubers kind of inspired this video, to be honest. Our heroine, right, this premise. Our heroine, it's not like the typical book that I read, but I just loved this one. So our heroine is engaged to be married with her like college, high school sweetheart or whatever, and her boyfriend has accrued a lot of gambling debt and they're kind of getting threatened by these like mobster people, and she's really fearful. She wants to get rid of the debt before they get married, but she hasn't really been able to make a dent into it. So she ends up finding the auction, where basically she auctions off her body for one night. She doesn't tell her boyfriend, and she ends up going to the auction and finding an older gentleman who has a lot of money, and they end up having kind of like an instant connection. So he agrees that he is going to pay off her debt if she spends the weeks leading up to the wedding with him. So this definitely has like a cheating aspect to it. Not kind of, it definitely is cheating, but I don't know, I really did like this one because it was just like fun and steamy and a little bit different from like your traditional romance. Definitely doesn't have like a traditional happy ending, and I really enjoyed reading about our heroine like finding herself and doing what makes her happy, even if it was a little selfish. It was also very steamy. It had a little bit of a zaddy kink and a little bit of like BDSM elements. You know, it, for some reason, it all just worked for me, which is so bizarre because I don't like books that have cheating, but I loved this one. So if you are going into this book with an open mind, just know it's so fun and steamy, and like, I liked it. I liked it. So the next two books that I want to talk about are by Miss Jessa Kane. Every novella video I do, I have to mention a Jessa Kane because she really hits me in the feelings, guys. So one of my favorite ones is Making Their Vows. This one follows some younger characters, just so you know that off the bat, but everything's consensual and they're both the same age, so we're all good on that aspect. Basically follows our heroine who lives in this very privileged community. She comes from a very rich family. She's kind of like the goody two-shoes that always listens to what her parents say. Friends thinks that he's like this hotshot fighter, so they end up stumbling upon this fighting rink where she meets our hero. Hero has had a really rough time. He doesn't come from a lot of money. He has to actually care for his younger sister, so in order to make money, he fights in this underground fighting rink illegally. He's really good at it. He kicks everyone's ass. I mean, of course, instant chemistry. They're very attracted to each other, but there's this major class difference and her parents don't approve, but they can't keep their hands off each other, and they kind of have like a forbidden romance. And this one also has a little bit of a zaddy kink to it. If you're into that, then you'll be into this. Another Jessica Kane that I have loved recently is called Breaking the Bully. I hate bully romances. I'm just gonna go out and say I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. But I liked this one. Basically, this also kind of follows younger characters, so I apologize for those of you who don't like that. But again, consensual, and they're the same age, so we're all good. Our hero bullies our heroine kind of because of a misunderstanding. They end up having this one intense moment together where he thinks that, you know, she has the same feelings towards him, but she kind of brushes him aside because her father is very, very, very strict and abusive, and she doesn't want to bring him into that. He ends up taking that interaction and ends up thinking that she thought that she was better than him because she had more money and he didn't. So he ends up getting his ego bruised a little bit and kind of bullies her. And once he finds out the truth, he grovels. Like, this is such a grovel type of book. Again, he absolutely ends up worshiping our heroine and loving her. I just really liked this one. It's short, it's quick, it's steamy, it's a Jessica Kane. Oh my goodness, we went through 15 novellas. I feel like I have been talking for ages. My camera has died like 3 times. So I'm gonna end it here. If you guys have read any novellas recently, please let me know. I love them. I would love to read them. And I hope you guys are enjoying Trope Week so far. It's slowly coming to an end. We just have 2 more videos left. Tomorrow, I think I'm giving recommendations for the brother's best friend trope. So that's gonna be fun. I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. As always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the absolute world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you next time. Bye!